All right, so we are back to the Patterns in Cinderella Stories sheet. Okay, and this is what we did last week. And if you're just joining this week, that's okay. You can see that the different categories, Cinderella had fit all of them, all the different patterns. Unjust parent, good character, selfish sisters, a guide or a helper, prince or princess, a ball or a feast, forgotten shoes, magical objects. And the lesson learned last week was always being good will be rewarded. So this week we read The Rough-Faced Girl, and we're going to go through the same patterns and we're going to see how they match up. Okay, so we'll put an X in the box if that is a pattern of the rough-faced girl. So the first column says unjust parent. Was the rough-faced girl's parent unjust? Were they not fair? That's what that means. And the answer is, it's kind of a yes and a no. However, he didn't treat her mean. It was more the sisters that took advantage of their father. Okay, so he gave her everything that he had left. So I'm going to not mark that one because he did give her everything that he had left. Good character, yes, there were good characters in this story. Of course, the rough-faced girl, the invisible being's sister, the invisible being, selfish sisters, yes, both of her sisters were very selfish. They took everything that their father had to offer so that they could go marry the invisible being, and ended up not getting to marry him because they weren't honest and they hadn't seen him. Okay, so yes, we're going to check that box. A guide or a helper. Yes, the sister of the invisible being was the guide or the helper. She didn't transform the rough-faced girl until after she had seen that the rough-faced girl was actually honest. And so, but she was the one who led to the invisible being. Okay, she was the one that saw the rough-faced girl's pure heart. A prince or princess, not necessarily. It did not say that anybody in this story was a prince or a princess necessarily. So we're going to leave that one blank. Okay. A ball or a feast. It did not mention that in the story of the rough-faced girl. And so, to go meet the invisible being, they had to go alone. So, and so we're not going to mark that. Forgotten shoes. There were not any forgotten shoes in the rough-faced girl. They did talk about the ratty-tatty moccasins that her father had given her, that she had gone to the lake and shrunk and tried to mold them to her feet. Even though they still were too big, she still went with pride to go meet the invisible being because she knew that she had actually seen him, but she didn't forget any shoes. And magical objects. Now this one's kind of debatable. In Native American culture, they believe a lot in the spirits, nature spirits, and the abilities that nature has. And she had the invisible being had presented himself throughout the story through nature, the rainbow, the stars. And so I'm going to mark yes. Okay, and the lesson learned from this story. It could follow along with Cinderella. Always being good will be rewarded. Okay, and so always being good, and we're going to add to this one today, and honest. Okay, that was an important part of this story. The sisters weren't honest, remember, and so they got turned away. will be rewarded. Okay. And we can see that these two stories do compare. Remember, compare means the same. There are some similarities, but then there are some differences between the stories as well. Where the boxes are not marked are the differences, so that's where it would contrast. All right. And that is it for the rough-faced girl for this week. Next week, we're going to go on to another story called Cinderella, and I'm really excited to see how that story compares with Cinderella and the rough-faced girl, really. Okay, and I'll see you guys later.